Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So, he doesn't fit in so well, but this is an Eggbert. And this is what we're going to be doing today. Let's jump right into it. So first we have to make these little toes. We have to make 3 of them. And then we're going to crochet them together to make a foot. So that's the first thing. So you need yellow and white. And then whatever color you want your eyeballs for when we get to that, and some black. I'm using a 4mm G hook to start off. So you're going to do a magic ring of 6 single crochets. These are both 4 weights. The white and the yellow are just 4 weights. So, for the next 5 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 6 stitches around. And I will see you on the other side. So this is my 5 rows. This is what it should look like. So I want you to make 2 more. I'm going to put my pattern on the screen. I want you to make 2 more. And this last one, so I can't fasten off this guy because I fastened off these 2. So a little sewing tail. But don't fasten off the last one because we need to stay attached to crochet it all together. And I'll see you on the other side. So now that you've got all your 3 toes together, we're going to crochet them. So I just want you to go into this next stitch, and that'll be your marker. And I want you to chain 1 and then add a toe. Try to keep it loose. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets, and this counts as the first one. So 2 more. Chain 1, add a toe. So I'm going in right next to where I fastened off, and I just flip it around. Keep it loose. So we put these chain ones in the front, but we're not going to do any chains in the back. So we're going to go around the toe. Should be 14 stitches. So that's kind of a tight fasten off spot. We're not chaining. You're just going to pop over to the next available stitch. So we'll sew whatever gaps we have with the tails. Make sure you get into that fasten off spot. No chaining, just pop over to the next stitch. There we go. So your next round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each of these stitches. You should have 18 stitches. So you got to get into these chains. which can be difficult, especially if you pull too tight like I did after I said don't pull tight. That's my 18. So now we can sew up. We're not stuffing the toes. We're going to stuff the foot, but I don't think I stuffed the toes. Oh yeah, I put a little bit of stuffing in there. So we should do that before we continue. So we're just going to whip stitch. So this is where I'm at. So I'm just going to come across. Just a simple couple of whip stitches. You don't need to go deep with it. So I'm just going to make a knot now. And I'm just going to tuck this up here. So that'll just be inside the hand. Or the foot, the hand. I'm so used to doing hands this way and not necessarily feet. So, you can shove some stuffing down there. I'll just use my hook. You don't need a whole lot. I didn't put a whole lot in. Obviously didn't even know I stuffed them. But when you look at it, I guess you can't really squish it down, so I probably just put a little bit in just to keep the shape. Your next round is going to be a decrease round. We're going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease. And that'll help with the shape of it as well. It'll kind of pull the toes out. I'm just doing a regular decrease. So this brings you down to 12 stitches. There we go. So here's where we start to make the foot part, the ankle part. So we're going to do 1 single crochet all the way around in each stitch. But when we come back, I want you to chain 1 and turn. So that's 1. You only got 12 stitches, so I'll do it with you. 1 in each stitch all the way around. So we're going to chain one. We're not really going to turn, so just keep it like that, but we are going to go backwards. So I want you to do 7 single crochets, and I want you to get into that first stitch right there, which is basically the same spot you're at. So 7 single crochets. And this is my 7th one. I'm going to chain one and I'm going to turn. And I'm going to do it again. 7 single crochets. That's 7. I'm going to chain one and I'm going to turn. So this is what you should have at this point. So now I'm going to do 3 single crochets. Now make sure you're getting into that very first stitch right there. That's my 3 single crochets, and then I'm going to do a decrease right here. And then you're going to do the 2 single crochets, chain one and turn. So now we got to build down and around. So we're going to move our marker because our marker is now going to have a new spot. So take your marker out. We're going to do 6 single crochets along the top because that's all the stitches we have. You're going to create 3 stitches down the side because there's no stitches here. You just got to stick your hook in wherever you can get it and make 3 stitches evenly down the side. Just like that. So you should have 5 stitches across. And now we're back to the corner here where you're going to make 3 stitches back up to the top evenly. This is now your new marker spot, so put your marker in this first stitch. So that's our 1 single crochet. We're going to do a decrease right here. We're going to do another decrease. And now we're going to do 12 single crochets back to the marker. That's my 12 back to the marker. So as you can see, that's the beginning of our chicken foot. For the next 16 rows, you should have 15 stitches. For the next 16 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 15 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So this is my leg done after my 16 rows. So I'm not going to fasten off because this is my second leg, this is my first leg, this is my second leg. So this is the end of the pattern, so all I want you to do is build your second leg, and so fasten off this one that you're making and then build your second leg. Don't fasten off because we need to crochet this together. So I'll put my pattern up on the screen and I will see you on the other side. Alright, so now that I have my feet done, I need to take this little straggler guy and tie or sew to the other one. So get your feet set however you want them. So if you want them like that, you're going to have to put them like that to sew them together. Or if you want them like that, I think I want mine a little open, so I'm just going to pop across, get my stuffing out of the way. I'm going to pop across to what I think is the same stitch across the way, and I'm just going to I'm just going to sew using whatever many stitches, 3, 4, whatever you want. This is just where our numbers get all screwed up. So I'm going to use 4, so I'm going to go into this last one here. I'm going to make a knot. So my feet are going to be out like this for mine. I'm going to tuck that in there. So now I want to switch to white. I don't want to make the next row in the yellow at all, but I'm not really a fan of switching it in the front, so I'm gonna be moving my marker spot. So I want to switch the colors in the back. I don't want to. So that's 3 spots. Well, this is 4. So I'm going to pull up a loop and I'm going to finish the stitch with my my white doesn't want to come out. So I'm going to finish that stitch with the white. So I'm just going to pull down on everything, make everything tight again, since I just loosened it all up. So, the yellow and the white I'm going to tie in a knot, but I want to just weave them both in with one stitch. So, let's say this is going to be my new marker spot. It's not going to change the project at all where your marker spot is. So now these two are just making a color change a lot easier than it normally is. So these two I'm going to tie in a double knot, the white and the yellow, and that's going to be my color change. So I don't want to do any weaving, I don't want to do any of that nonsense. I just want to do easy peasy color change. So I'm going to just stick that down in there. Stuffing will cover all that, nobody will even know. So your color change is going to be a 1 single crochet increase. So we're going to instantly increase. So that's my 1 single crochet with my marker. So I just want to go into the next stitch and do the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space and repeat. So I'm going to go into this stitch, which was part of my sewing stitch. I'm just going to share that space, and then I'll pop across and do my increase. So 1 single crochet increase all the way around. That's 6. I'm just going to count and make sure my numbers are right. So I had 39 stitches. I had 33 when I did my first doll. So I obviously did something different than my first one. So it's no big deal. Again, if you've done other dolls with me that we've crocheted together like this, you'll understand that it's not a big deal. It will still look like an Eggbert. I named him Eggbert because a friend of mine sent me a message asking me to do an Eggbert, and that's what he called him. An egg. I had done my alien with the same feet. Well, almost the same, not quite built the same, but almost the same feet. And he said those would look funny attached to an egg. You could call him Eggbert. So this is why I'm doing this video, because I thought it was such a cute idea. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and it's going to get squishy. And I wrote down 44 stitches, so we'll see how many I end up with. That's 2 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Just make sure that these smaller stitches you're finding and getting into. So I was still 6 stitches off, so I actually decreased these last 2 because I came to the end and I had 2 stitches left over, which still would have made me 6 stitches off. So I just decreased, I single crocheted those 2 together. So just trying to get back down to my regular numbers. I don't think it'll affect my work at all. So your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. And then I want you to do 1 single crochet in each stitch after that. So that's number 1. That's 3 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And I wrote down 55 stitches. So your next round after this will be 1 single crochet in each of those 55 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have. It should be all wonky, and that's a good thing. There's a method to my madness, excuse me. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So this should bring you up to 66 stitches. So your next round is going to be your last increase round. This will be the last time. The last round we do is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. And this should bring you up to 77 stitches. You should be increasing by 10 every single round. And then I'm going to end you off the video. Part 1 is going to end, well, I'll tell you that when we come back. So for now, just do your 5 single crochet increase, and I'll meet you on the other side. So this is what 77 stitches looks like. This is what it should look like. So I'm going to end the video with, for the next 20 rows, I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 77 stitches. And I will see you in part 2. Hi guys, welcome back to part 2. So when I left you to do the end of part 1, I left you with 20 rows to do. 77 stitches, 20 rows. So this is what you should have. So we're going to start decreasing for part 2 and finish this, put eyes on, like we're going to finish the entire thing for part 2. So let's jump right into this. Your first round is going to be 5 single crochets and a decrease, because we ended with 5 single crochets and an increase before our 20 rows. It's number 1. That's 5 single crochets. I'm going to do invisible decreases, because ultimately, even though they're not really invisible, at the end of the day, they leave lesser holes. If that makes sense. Your next round after this is just going to be 1 single crochet in each of those 66 stitches that you should have, and I will see you on the other side. This is not the easiest thing to stuff, but I don't want to keep stuffing it because it's going to be hard to do what I'm doing. So I'll stuff little bits on the way through and through. So your next couple of rows is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease. This will bring you about down to 55 stitches, and then I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 55 stitches. So this is number 1. 4 single crochets, and then your decrease, I'm doing invisible again, which is just front loop only, and repeat. So your next round is going to be are going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease, and then this should take you down to 44 stitches, and then you can do the 1 single crochet in each of those 44 stitches. That's number 1. Three single crochets and then your decrease. And repeat. This is what you should have. This is extremely difficult to stuff. So I've already started because we just got a few rows left. But your next couple of rows, the first one's going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. And then this brings you down to 33 stitches. Sorry, it's very difficult at this point with my camera. I gotta find a new setup for my camera. This is a little awkward. 2 single crochet decrease, that's number 1, always with your marker. And then this brings you down to 33 stitches, and you can put 1 single crochet in each of those 33 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and decrease, and this will take you down to 22 stitches, and then I just want you to do 1 single crochet in each of those 22 stitches. 15 different camera angles just to do this. That's 1 single crochet, and then you jump right into your decrease and repeat. So your next round is going to be, well, the same thing. 1 single crochet decrease. This takes you down to 15 stitches, and I want you to do 2 rows of 1 single crochet after that, and then we are going to be able to fasten off. So I will see you on the other side. I am done my 2 rows, and this is what I have left. I need to make sure that I'm completely filling that spot before I cinch it shut, but for now this is where you get to fasten off. So you just need enough to cinch the top shut, and then we make sure this is properly stuffed. And shaped properly. So we need to make sure, because I mean it gets so out of shape as we're going along. I don't think I got the bottom completely stuffed the way I want it, but just make sure that this is shaped the way you want it and everything. So I like to make sure it's kind of overstuffed at the top here, because when we cinch it, I don't want wrinkles. And if it's not stuffed properly at the top, you might get kind of a wrinkly pull when you pull on this. So if you don't know how to cinch, which you should if you follow me at all. We're going to use the front loops only. We're going to go in and we're going to go out. Now because there's so many, you can skip one, go in and out using the front loops only. Skip one. You don't have to skip one. I'm just skipping one. So when you come back around, you're just gonna pull, and hopefully you've stuffed that enough that there's no shove some of my stuffing in there. There's no wrinkles. So you want to secure that cinch, so you're gonna come across, go through the loop to make a knot, pull back and forth, and then you can weave. So you can still put it in the shape that you need it in. I think mine's okay as far as shape goes. My legs don't quite look like they're in the middle because I got too much stuffing on this side. So other than that, oh, there we go, a little bit better. So other than that, you can move the stuffing however you like. Shaped like a funny egg. Let's move on to his eyeballs. There's not much left. This guy's just about done. So decide what color you want your eye. I'm going to do mine green. I did mine blue last time. You're going to need some black and you're going to need some white. Let's jump right into this. So, starting with our black, you're going to make a magic ring. We're still using our 4mm. Six single crochets inside. I'm going to go through the first stitch. I'm going to pull up a black loop. I'm going to add my green to finish the stitch. I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Don't worry about weaving in any of your ends. We can tie them all at the back after. So 2 single crochets in each stitch for a total of 12 stitches. So that's my 12. Yeah, I do have a space here where my black is, but we'll be covering that in. So pull everything down at the back. We're going to tie all that. And now with your white, so we're going to switch to white. So come in here, pull up a green piece. Finish that with your white. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And then with your white, you're going to do 1 single crochet and an increase. So count that as 1 single crochet. So we're going to pop over here and we're going to start with an increase. And you're going to do that all the way around. So I'm all the way back around. We're still staying with the white. We're done with all these colors, so you can cut your black and your green off. We're all done with that. Don't worry about what's going on back here. So now we just got to shape the eye. So we can put a marker in now because we're not going to be switching colors. So that's my first stitch. That's where my marker is going to go. but I'm going to put a second stitch inside. So that's 2 single crochets in the same space. You'll see it with brackets, and that's what that means, 2 single crochets in the same space. So now we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Next stitch is going to get 2 double crochets. The next stitch is going to get 2 double crochets. The next stitch is going to get a half double. The next stitch is going to get 2 singles. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 in each stitch. Then we're going to do 2 singles in the same space. Then you're going to do a half double. Then you're going to do 2 half doubles each in these stitches. So 4 altogether, 2 in each stitch. Then you're going to do 2 single crochets. Oh no, I missed a half double. I knew that didn't sound right. Half double. Now you're going to do 2 single crochets in the same space, and then 2 single crochets, 1 in each, back to your marker. And that is, well, we're going to do one more row, but that's your eye. Your last row is just going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. And that's just to make it big enough. And there goes another marker. Now I got 2 markers on the floor. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. I have an extra stitch, but for the most part, I'm done my eyeball, so I'm just going to put a single crochet in that extra stitch. So these get stuffed a little bit, because I think they should be at least 3D, so you can fasten off. You need a sewing tail. So all this stuff at the back, you can just tie. So don't do a tight first knot. Oh, sorry, I'm not even on camera. Don't do a tight first knot, but you can do a tight second knot. So all this gobbledygook can get cut off. So this is going to get stuffed and sewn on to wherever you want. So go ahead, make your second eye, and I will see you right back here. And now we sew it on. I think I got too much yarn. Well, I'll use it. I guess it's always safe to have too much than not enough. So Figure out where you're going to be stuffing it. Keep in mind, we're going to put a little bit of stuffing underneath this eye. So you can sew it on any way you like. So I just got a tiny little hole left. So I'm going to start putting some stuffing in there. Now it doesn't take much because you don't want it like overly big. You just kind of want to make it look like 3D-ish. Once you're done, you can just weave wherever you want. You can weave into the eye too because there's a little bit of stuffing. But weaving is 3 different directions. I'm going to split some yarn here. I'm not going to use my holes. I'm going to go in between my holes just because I want the weave to have an extra tough time if somebody tries to rip my eyeball off. So go ahead and sew on your second eye and I will meet you right back here. So these are my eyes. I am going to okay, let me explain. My guy here, I have a mouth that I put on him. And then I put some cracked spots. So I put some stuff that looks like he's cracked. So you don't have to do this, but this is what I'm going to do. And this will be the end of the video. So I've got some 2-weight cotton that I used. So you just need to cut a piece off. You can make your mouth any way that you want to make your mouth. So I'm going to put a knot on one end. Doesn't matter where you go in, it just matters where you come out. So I'm going to come out up here. Don't pull this knot in, we're going to push the knot in. So now it's just making shape. So if you want to do a smile, that's pretty easy peasy. If you want to do what I did, which was a scary face because he's cracking, then we need to come across. So we need to go over here and go into a spot. So wherever you want your black to come down, and then we're going to come out wherever you want to come out. Actually, I'm not going to go down that far. So that's your first mark, but now you have to come back down to the same hole. But you want this piece now to come up. So you go down the hole you just came out of. I know that's hard to see. Go down the hole here, and you're going to go back up to the same hole you were just in. So just do a double loopy-loopy, and then you do it again. You come down to where you want your point, and you come up where you want your other point, like that. Then you go back down and around the same holes, and do it again. So he's supposed to look scared. I'm gonna come up a bit, give him kind of a crooked mouth. But you can play around with it. Like I said, you could put just a smile on him, and I'm sure it would be perfectly fine. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't know, I kind of like my other one better. So these are kind of a tighter smile than my other one, but there are so many things that you can do, and it's just a matter of making that decision. So if you don't like what you've done, you can just easily pull it out and do something else. Just make sure you're going down the holes and you're not splitting any yarn, because it might be harder to pull out. So if you just wanted this guy to have a smile, then you can come across. So first we want to make this part of the smile, so pop across and then come down somewhere in the middle of your face. And then you got to come up here, but you have to go beyond your mark and pop out. Over here where you want your other part of the smile, or you can do a crooked smile. I'm going to do a crooked smile. So from here I'm going back down the same hole, because ultimately I'm just moving my yarn, and I'm going to come down here where I'm going to pop across to make a crooked smile. And that's his little crooked smile. And that's it. I think I'll just leave a little crooked smile. Actually, I don't know if I want to have it that wide. I'm just going to thin it out. Well, not thin. Make it smaller. Yeah, that makes more sense. So this you can just tie into a knot. Push the knot down as far as you can to your egg. So cut these off, but make sure there's little nubbies, and you're going to push that knot down into your stuffing as far as you can push it. Make sure you get it right down in there. And that's my little guy's crooked smile. So as far as the little cracks and so, oh, this is a mess. As far as the little cracks and stuff, this is also cotton, but this is it's got a odd weave to it. But I didn't have any yellow to weight, but you can use whatever you want. This is really weird. Do you see how it's kind of knotted and it's woven weird? So that's what I used. That's what I used to decorate a lot of my stuff. Other than washcloths, this stuff is useless, personally. So again, you're just going to tie a knot on the bottom. And then just decide where you want cracks to be. And you don't have to make this yellow. If you're doing a brown egg, you might want to do it a different color. Brown eggs have kind of a different color of a yolk. And then you just make cracks. So again, it doesn't matter where you come in, just matters where you come out. Don't pull the knot in. And then do the same thing that we just did for the mouth, but do it in a bigger sort of bigger size. So I just did a big one there. I'm going to come back around and copy what I just did. So do a loop. And then I'm going to come down way down here. So I'm making this fairly crooked. You can do whatever you want. It does not matter. So when you're done, just remember that you're going to tie a knot and you're going to poke it down. So I'm done. I'm just going to move my yarn over here. Make sure you come out a hole and you're not splitting any. Make sure you're not splitting any threads. You don't have to cut it off here if you're doing more cracks. So I'm going to move my yarn. I'm just moving it, but my nail's not that long. My needle's not that long, so I got to move it in short little bursts. Just make sure you're coming up through a hole. I'm going to make my way around here and put a crack in. Just because I put a crooked smile on his face, so I just think that it'll look cute, or not. But you can always pull it out if you don't like it. So again, I'm not sewing, I'm just moving my yarn. So I'll put a little crack on his face, just a little tiny one. So again, come down where you want your point and come up where you want your point, and then loop those two holes again. So I'm just going to put a tiny little crack. My last one I did around the top I thought was cute, but this guy I'll just, again, I'm just moving my yarn. I'll just put tiny ones all over instead of, I only put 2 on my other one and they're both big. So this one I'll just put tiny little cracks. And I think that's it. So I'm just going to pop out somewhere so I can do my knot and push it down. So don't worry if you can't get your knot all the way down to your egg. It's no big deal. I got my knot down to there. I'm going to cut off, leaving a nubby. Everything gets poked down, so you don't have to get it really close to your egg. My nubby's a little long, so I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to poke that down. There we go. Give my little egg. Thanks for joining me, guys. That's it. I'll see you in the next video.